Thank you for that introduction, David. So yes, we're of course joined by Ben Miller and Chris Chibnall, who, as the panel title indicates, are people we know from on-screen mysteries. But today we're going to talk a lot about your own crime fiction, forthcoming and indeed current and available now. So I don't think it's giving too much away to say that, Chris, yours is I don't want to say traditional murder mystery, but it's what you would expect from a murder mystery. If you pick it up, it's a whodunit that has lots of what we might expect. And Ben, your forthcoming book, I'm going to get the title right, A Very Dangerous Pursuit, which is not out until May, riffs on, well, takes the character of Richard Hannay forward as instigated by John Buchan. So I'm interested to hear from both of you whether perhaps Agatha Christie and John Buchan in particular, or maybe other authors, influenced you at a young age. Why did you feel drawn towards the sorts of stories that they were telling? Ben, if I could come to you first.
Well, of course, the book that influenced my story is The 39 Steps by John Buchan. And John Buchan was a bit of an obsession of mine, not from when I was a child, but after I sort of met Alexander Armstrong. He introduced me to John Buchan when we were doing Armstrong and Miller, and we did lots and lots of John Buchan style sketches in our show. Some more clearly rip-offs of John Buchan than others, but there was always it's the sort of gentleman amateur that's always really made me laugh, is this sort of British archetype, this sort of dilettante British gentleman who in his spare time sort of makes a motor car in his shed and then competes in the Grand Prix. A sort of peculiarly British reverence for people who don't take their profession seriously. And that's just... yeah, that's always been something that fascinated me. And then, and Alexander Armstrong was the person who said to me, well, you know the 39 Steps. Yes. Did you know he wrote this? Have you read Green Mantle, which is the next book? And then that just completely got me hooked into the whole series of Richard Hannay stories. And then, I will give some short answers to questions, but this isn't going to be one of them.
You don't need it, yes.
And then when I was doing Johnny English, for the first time, I got very fascinated in what was the origin of the British spy, what was the origin of that character, and that again brought me back to John Buchan and Richard Hannay, and I find the whole series very, very inspiring. I'm sorry we haven't got any time for you, Chris.
I'm off to get your book.
Well, Chris, often when I do these events, I have to say to people beforehand, sort of quietly, are you a fan of Agatha Christie? And you went, yes. So Agatha Christie, big influence in childhood, is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm that kid who was taking Agatha Christie out of the library when I was 12, 13, 14, was taking one a week, reading it in... the day, like Lucy saying, you'd sort of sit and the light changes and you're just there. Take it back, get some more. Went through all of the Christies in Formby Library on Merseyside. Thank you very much. The library system, and I think it's the thing for me is she just became that gateway drug into fiction, and that sort of that thing of, it's interesting that what we were talking about in the video just then, of that kids read Christie and it becomes your pathway to other books, as well as really enjoying that. So yeah, from an early age she was sort of in my bloodstream, and then something like Broadchurch, the show I did for ITV, is just, if you can't see the influence of Agatha Christie on that, it's essentially Agatha Christie by the seaside now. And then, yes, so with the novel that came out this year, Death at the White Hart, my pitch was it's got to be an Agatha Christie. Well, I wanted to write a book that made readers feel that addictive, page-turning, Agatha Christie style murder mystery, lots of suspects, English village, And every chapter, you just finish it and you're like, I'll just have one more chapter before bed, and then it's 3 a.m. So, yeah, massive influence on me.
I'm interested to hear from both of you about how you ended up writing these novels, because you both, of course, are writers. But to put crime fiction in novel form for adults is something I don't think either of you had done before. So Ben, is this your first adult novel? Is that correct?
I was going to say, I've never written for grown-ups before, let alone written crime fiction or thriller. It's very different to the novels that I usually write. You know, my novels for children I suppose they're adventure stories. There's that in common. But they're generally magical adventures. I've got this slightly weird sort of perverse thing where I studied science. I'm really into science. So can I write anything about science? No. What can I write about? Magic. Something very odd about human psychology, isn't there? You kind of, once you sort of want to go into your imagination, it won't do anything that you want it to do. So I write about, basically, a lot of my stories basically involve some sort of magical portal. It could be in a library. It could be, it could be in this portal will turn up anywhere, and that's your entry into this sort of magical world. It was once a trapdoor in the pick and mix of a sweet section of a supermarket. You're all glazing over, and I don't blame you. They're for 7 to 11-year-olds, so you're forgiven. Writing, it's a lot more words.
Isn't it?
It is a lot more words.
TV.
I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean, 30,000 words is the longest story that I'd written before. That is a mere section of my present book. So there's a whole different... what I did figure out was... Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. But basically, your character in your story has to do something important enough then it's going to last to the end of the story. So if it's 30,000 words, it needs to be 30,000 words worth important. The thing that they need to do. Obviously, if your book is, and I'm just plucking a figure out of the air, 80,000 words. If your book is 80,000 words long, they need to want to do it a whole lot more. That was basically the lesson that I learned.
So how did you come up with the idea of doing a Richard Hannay? Was it your instigation, or did someone come to you and say, have you ever thought of doing that? How did it happen?
Yeah, it was my idea. I mean, my book is obviously a complete rip-off because I'm copying the same, I'm just taking the same character from the 39 Steps and I'm writing a prequel to the 39 Steps. Obviously, in that sense, my idea is completely unoriginal. But what is original about it is the idea was I love those 5 John Buchan books so much. I thought maybe I could write, and they all happen. This is what's really interesting. They're all set in real historical time. So the character in the 39 Steps is in 1914, and he takes you right through, I think the last one's in 1926. So what's really fascinating about it as a storyline is I thought, well, what I could do is I could write books in between those, those signposts along the journey. That's turned out to be a lot more difficult than I thought it might be. I was explaining to Chris, to write a book before the 39 Steps, the 39 Steps is quite a simple story. It's basically a chase. To write a story that takes place before that, when the character is even more naive and knows even less about professional espionage, was relatively straightforward. Now I've got to write a book that's a little bit more complicated than the 39 Steps, and I'm finding that it's a bit tougher. So I'll let you know how I get on.
We'll all find out in May. Chris, obviously, Broadchurch, huge success. So what makes you then say, my next mystery is going to be a novel rather than going back to television?
I'd done Broadchurch, and then I show ran Doctor Who for 3 seasons. And coming off that, I really wanted to do something. So the thing about doing Doctor Who is it's the most incredible creative challenge. You've been in that world. You've been in Doctor Who, been an amazing villain in Doctor Who. The most incredible challenge and creative challenge as a showrunner. So we were doing 11 episodes a year, new story, new planet, new historical period every episode. And so coming out of that, I needed A, a holiday, and then B, a sense of a creative challenge that would match that. So I wanted to try something I hadn't done before. When Broadchurch was going out in 2013, I had some offers, people asking whether I was ever interested in doing a novel. And so that was at the back of my mind. So I thought the thing I really wanted to do post-Doctor Who was, I'm going to give a novel a go. And then I panicked. And then I thought, what genre do I love and read and feel comfortable writing? And so within the crime genre, and then I thought, oh yeah, murder mystery. And then something that was Broadchurch adjacent. So it's set sort of 5 miles down the road. I feel like David Tennant and Olivia Colman are still bickering over here, and the novel takes place here, but it's 12 years later, and the world has changed, and our country has changed, and so it's like, could I construct a sort of classic golden age detective novel set now about the lives we live now with an interesting detective duo, but have that Christie feel, but really about what we're all living through now, set around a pub in an English village where the landlord gets murdered, so no shortage of suspects.
I had the pleasure of reading both of these books the other week, and I think you've both achieved exactly what you set out to achieve, which is a very, very tough thing to do. So I absolutely felt like I was propelled back to the 1930s, or 1912, and indeed with Chris, when I was reading Death at the White Hart, I felt both sort of thrilled and annoyed with myself that I knew that I'd worked out whodunit exactly when you wanted me to. Which is one page before you told us explicitly.
I'm delighted.
And I won't ruin it by saying what it is, but I'll tell you later. Was it tougher to write for TV or for this as a novel, or were they just different skill sets?
They're very different. I mean, I really recognise what you said about it's a lot of words. It's I've been dealing in 50, 60-page scripts for a drama, and then suddenly 80, 90,000 words, and you're like, what? It's a whole series in one unit? And so it's just really different, isn't it? Moving from across. It's like working in different currencies. I don't know whether you find that as well. It's sort of, it's just entirely different. There's some things like structure and character and narrative arcs, character arcs, mix of characters, but it's the challenge is really exciting, and I really loved it for that. So I felt excited and challenged, and also sometimes completely punch-drunk. And we were just talking, you were just saying before about the point where you're in the middle of the novel and you're just like, where will this ever end? Where am I going?
I know. I have no idea how mine's going. I mean, it's so frustrating.
Don't say that in front of them now.
Got it all worked out. I'm just biding my time.
Ben, I was really intrigued in your book, and I'm really conscious that I don't want to give anything away because it's not out till May. But
give it away.
There are some very famous...
If ever I saw a room full of people I could... Apart from the one person who's obviously going to get murdered.
Don't. Last year, Jeremy Vine tried to give spoilers away, and he's practically chased out of the building, so we're very cautious. But some very famous locations and means of transport. I don't know how much you want to give away.
It ends on the Titanic, that's what you want to say.
Via the Orient Express.
You tart.
Shameless.
I'm sorry for lowering the tone. No, it does. So mine is it's a chase. It starts in Constantinople, it then moves on to actually before it gets on, he flies in one of the very first aeroplanes. This is what I love about the period, is that all this sort of technology that we have had literally just been invented, sometimes like the previous year. So very excitingly, he flies in one of the very first military planes to the Orient Express. You're not going to have to read the book now, are you? So the Orient Express, then he goes from the Orient Express, he goes to Paris in the time of Braque and Picasso, which is fantastic. Yeah. And then after some intrigue in Paris, he ends up nipping over to Cherbourg and manages just in time to catch the Titanic. What a lucky man. and then, of course, inevitably, I feel like somebody's heckling me over here. Artistic license. Thank you. Artistic license. He then finds himself, somewhat predictably, on a lifeboat on the Titanic, fighting the villain of the story. No cliche is left unturned in this story. But that's kind of the point, really. It's a romp, really. It's a bit of a sort of tongue-in-cheek. It's not really the 39 steps. It's a sort of I don't want to say making fun of the 39 steps, but having fun with the 39 steps, I suppose. That's it.
Chris, so when you're putting together Death at the White Hart, there are two very distinctive characters at the centre of your detectives.
Yep.
Nicola and Harry.
Harry, known as Westlife for his boy band Good Looks.
Yes. Who I think will be back for your second book.
Yes.
Was this always the plan? Were you like, I'd like to make a series out of this, or?
Yeah, it was the hope.
Let's say hope. Yeah, we'll go hope.
It was a two-book deal to begin with, and yes, I really wanted to introduce a detective duo in that book that then could play out across multiple books and across a long period. But obviously, Death at the White Hart has that first time. So Nicola is from West Dorset, has been away in Liverpool being a detective, and has come back after 20 years to sort out issues in her personal life, have a quiet life. Spoiler, she doesn't get a quiet life. A body is found on the A35 with antlers tied to its head. Really, it's the setup of their dynamic in the first novel, and that the aim of that is to play out across a number of books if things go to plan.
I'm sure they will. And Ben, I don't want to think too much about the future because this book isn't even out yet, but did you get to the end of it and go, I really want to write more of these? Or did you get to the end of it and go, I'm going back to children's fiction? Which way round did you feel?
A little bit of both, if I'm really honest. No, I'm really, really excited to work on the series. I was saying to Chris earlier that one of the lovely things about this as a project is Buchan, grows the character. As I say, all the stories are grounded in real time and in real events, and he's kind of the sort of prototype spy turned novelist, John Buchan. So he set up the Ministry of Information, an incredibly distinguished career in intelligence. Was an intelligence officer in the Boer War, then set up the Ministry of Information, then became the Governor of Canada. I'm assuming that was all above board. But the point is, he really grew this character. He grew, the stories grow. The character grows in maturity. In fact, in the last story, he's actually retired. It's kind of one of those classic sort of comes back for one last job kind of stories.
Right.
So there's a really broad canvas to work with. So that's at the same time very challenging, because I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to write something that's even approaching the complexity of Greenmantle, for example? But I'm also glad that there's plenty of road ahead. Do you know what I mean? So that's the positive side. I was saying to Chris, I'm tearing my hair out. I can't think of how to end this book. But that's the stage that I'm at. I mean, I feel like I'm always at that stage in any story. I get that like that with the children's books as well. Halfway through, I'm thinking, I just can't see this, frankly. I can't see how any of this is going to work out. Which is, I suppose, where you want to be, because you want to have the same kind of stakes that your character's got.
Yeah, wonderful. We've only got about 5 minutes left, so we must talk, Chris, about The Seven Dials Mystery, which is coming to Netflix in January 15th?
15th of January. Hope you've all got it marked in your diaries. Agatha Christie's Seven Dials.
Yes. Well, before we talk about it, I guess we've got a little exclusive that you can
World exclusive,
I think,
Mark. Yeah, don't get too excited.
This is really interesting. So this is the paperback cover, the tie-in cover for this.
Yeah, so Netflix and HarperCollins have done a special edition of Seven Dials to tie in with the Netflix adaptation, and we can exclusively reveal, can we?
Absolutely, by all means.
I've never used those words. But here is the cover of the book that's going to be going out next year. And we can point out Martin Freeman as Battle, I love an ooh. Mia McKenna Bruce as Bundle, Lady Eileen Brent. There we go. Sorry over there. Sorry. And Helena Bonham Carter as Lady Caterham. So not Lord Caterham, as in the book, but Helena Bonham Carter as Lady Caterham.
And with the lovely pink spine.
With the pink,
Nice. So I know that Netflix are our overlords and will strike us down if you say anything you can't.
Snipers.
What can you tell us about it? It sounds like it's very faithful in lots of ways, but maybe with some tweaks. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think the reason I wanted to adapt it was I love the book. I love the character of Bundle, Lady Eileen Brent, and the fact that it's an incredibly funny book. She's an incredible character. It's also fast-paced. It's on the move. It's quite a thriller, as well as having that murder mystery heart. So we wanted to do something bringing Agatha Christie to Netflix that feels slightly different from other adaptations, that has a real cinematic sweep and a real energy. It's got that sort of PG Woodhouse, bright young things, those characters of, Bill and Jimmy and Jerry. So there's all of that, but we wanted it to be rip-roaring and as much for everybody in this room, and then people who've never seen a Christie, we wanted it to be like, I basically want to repay Agatha from the library years. I want to go, here's a gateway drug for the next generation and people who watch on Netflix and go, here you go, here's this, and then you go. It's a doorway into the whole world of Agatha Christie, but it's a real hoot of a piece, I can promise you that. It's hugely enjoyable. Big stately homes, period cars, chases, butlers, champagne, masked balls.
How many episodes is it?
It's 3 episodes, Ben, so you can do it even in an evening. So it's like, I'm glad you asked. Thank you. And it's really delightful. Brilliantly directed by Chris Sweeney, who made The Tourist. It's a really
he's superb.
Australian. Exactly. So I really hope you can enjoy it. But yes, faithful, and then other layers as well. So if you've read the book, you'll recognise the shape and absolutely.
And if there is another one, do you think there might be room in the cast for the only one of us who actually came dressed in black tie this evening?
I didn't want to say anything.
You've been very good.
I was not going to stoop that low.
I think it's a solo one, the next one. Ben plays every single part. It's like the Lady Killers.
Great. Right. Well, just before we go then, I guess that the last thing I'd really like to hear from each of you is, as so often asked, of all the Agatha Christie's that you've read, which one has perhaps stayed with you? It doesn't have to be your favourite, but when you think about an Agatha Christie, because I know you've read some as well, Ben, which ones, and you starred in, which ones come to mind?
I mean, for me, it's Roger Ackroyd, because I will never, ever forget finishing that up and just the sheer, I don't know, the adrenaline jolt, but also the addictive. We're all narrative addicts, aren't we? And it's like that one. It's a real main line. Oh, you've done me with this story, and I'm so grateful. So that really.
What about you, Ben?
There's 3 for me. Sparkling Cyanide got me in, funnily enough, when at same 12 local library. Amazing. The Body in the Library. Because I was in it. I played Basil Blake. Slightly over the top, I felt, when I saw it afterwards, but not as over the top as some people.
Fair, very fair.
And then last of all, and then there were none, because I actually, weirdly, one of the places I go to write is on the Devon coast, looking over Burr Island.
Wow.
So imagine the sort of Agatha Christie vibes I felt when I got asked to do this. I was thinking, wow. So I was literally sitting there, looking at Burr Island, you know, and that's where I chose to go. And I've got my friend of mine's got a house there. It looks like that thing. That's where I was writing that book that we were talking about earlier. And this is probably too much information, but I took to my bed this week, so I got that horrible cold that's going around, and I read it in bed. Some of it I listened to on audiobook. Some of it I think actually happened to me. This isn't doing anything for my level of reality. No, it's been lovely to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Chris and Ben are hopefully happy to sign or to dedicate for. There are some pre-signed books as well. I sign some as well, but I go to all these things, so you've already got one. I suspect.
Don't talk it down, Mark.
But obviously, I'd love to thank them very much for coming on this evening. Thank you.